Hi, I'm going to work a little bit with the new Harper and Victoria molds that we have. I'm going to make some letters with our air dry clay. And I'm going to take a little bit of cornstarch on a brush so I can get down in that mold. Because these are kind of small. They're a little bit finer detail. Truthfully, if I wasn't at my studio, I would put these in the freezer just so they get solid enough that I can pop them out and not worry about the detail. But let's go ahead. I see there's glitter. I think I used my brush for glitter before, so now I have glitter in my cornstarch. So good thing I'm not using that to eat any longer. But I don't know if I really wanted it on my letters. Although, you know, I've never been accused of not liking glitter. So I use one of our transfer sticks to get the excess clay off the micro rim. I had a client, or actually one of our other stockists had a client who had a slice in the micro rim, and we think their metal paint scraper that they used might have caught the edge and cut it. So be real careful with that. You wouldn't want to use anything sharp. Get a plastic paint scraper if you want to use one, but like I said, if you're, you know, like me and you've got all the Iron Orchid things around, I like these. I think they work great. I also have these little tiny plastic, they're fairly fine edged, little spoon knife whatevers, I'm sure that's their name. And they also work pretty good too. You can get around the edge. But if you just kind of run your finger around, get the excess off, that way it'll come out cleaner. So hopefully this will come out. Like I said, these are pretty fine. They're very narrow, and the detail is very delicate, and they're not super deep. So you don't have a heavy amount of clay in there to give it a little extra sturdiness to the clay. So we'll see how it comes out. Might be that it's better to put it in the freezer for a little bit, but I did use the cornstarch, so that should help it. And because it's in the middle of the mold, it's a little bit farther away from the edge where you get the flex. Oh, that looks like it's coming out pretty good. Also, being an M, it has all the up and down legs, so that's a little harder too. There we go. So I think you can see, I don't want to move this around too much, get it distorted. I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to try one on the Harper mold. See if I can move this out of the way. Perfect. So I'm put a little bit of cornstarch in all those little nooks and crannies. Take my clay. Now, if I were really being smart right now, I would have a Ziploc bag and already have this inside it and keep it covered the entire time because it dries out really quickly. So I would suggest that you keep a Ziploc bag handy and just get out what you need and zip it back up as soon as you are done. You know, it's funny, you're trying to fill such a small spot and get such fine details that it's a very delicate process with the air dry clay. And again, and a good rule of thumb on bigger areas is start from the top, or start from the middle, I'm sorry, and go to the last half, and start from the middle and go towards the top. And that usually doesn't let it pull out of the mold that way. You've got enough pressure set in the middle to keep it in its space. All right, let's see how this one goes. You can see it in there. I love the shape of these. They're such a usable font. You just want to keep it close to the paper there. So turn that around so you can see. Yep. And I like the fact that you can use them together with the upper and lower case. So I'm going to keep working on these, and then hopefully I'll get it on my sign, and I'll show you what it looks like when I keep the when I get the letters all together. I wanted to show you a demonstration of the Posh Chalk Metallic Paste. What I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss with a stencil. You can see I used this little flower lace stencil. I did it on the corner here. You just swipe the paste across there and then lift up the stencil. And then I'll show you what the little key to getting some extra dimension is here. So what I'm going to do is take the stencil and decide where I want it on the tag. I think what I'll do is put it across the top. So I'll get a little bit of the paste on my, I'm just using one of the Iron Orchid's transfer sticks, but you can use a spatula, anything that you can just use to scrape it on and let it go into the stencil and then scrape off the excess. This is a nice small stencil. I think this is a Tim Holtz collection stencil, and I thought that the kind of doily lace look that it has would complement the flower from the Painterly Florals transfer that I put on here. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm getting the excess off. And you pull up the stencil. I have a little excess through there. Just gonna wipe it off. I'm using it to go ahead and edge the other side here. Just for a little highlight there. So now this is what's really cool about the metallic paste. When you take a heat gun, and this is just for scrapbooking, for embossing, when you take one of these and you add heat, to it, it puffs up. So you can see it gives it kind of a hammered metal look. And it's better to be a little farther away. I got a little close there and it made it bubble up a little too much. And you want to be careful not to get too much heat on your transfer. But I just thought that was a neat look. And a way to use the embossing paste. But you can also just take it on your finger, on a brush, just run it across the edge. When it dries very hard. It will not come off. Doesn't need a sealer or anything extra on it. And just like that. I took a plain wooden tag, added a bit of a transfer, embossed some of the metallic paste, and then just used more of the metallic paste around the edges for a highlight. So, just so you can see what I've done here. This is a board that I painted with the Hawaiian Hibiscus Milk Paint by Fusion. I added the Painterly Floral Transfers from IOD, of course. And then I added a little bit of the Posh Chalk, and that is dry, and you can see the dimension of it right there. You can see a little bit better. So it actually gives you a raised pattern. So anyway, I just wanted to pop in and show you some of the fun stuff I've been playing with today. Take care. Bye.